It's Phil the MMA Dude, back with the Split Decision Podcast, episode number 36, here with my always brilliant and beautiful co-host, the Fight Geek. Fight Geek, how you doing tonight, man?
What is up, man? Happy to be here. Happy to talk fights.
Yeah, a lot to discuss today. Here's what's on tap, folks. First, we've got the Bellator 225 recap. A lot of people are calling that the most violent mainstream MMA event of all time. It had 14 fights, 14 finishes, 7 KOs, 7 subs. Moving on after that, we're going to jump into the UFC Shenzhen Preview / UFC China. Me and Fight Geek were arguing whether it's called UFC Shenzhen or UFC China. I'm not sure. After that, my favorite section, listener questions. Fight Geek, first of all, is it called Shenzhen or China?
I'm going to defer to you, and we'll go with UFC Shenzhen, right?
Yeah, and apologies, folks, if I'm mispronouncing this. It's my best that I can do it. So, Fight Geek, let me start off the episode with this question for you. Regarding this upcoming title fight, that's the main event for this Saturday. It is going to see Weili Zhang take on Jessica Andrade, the current strawweight champion, in Jessica's first strawweight title defense. And I put this out to MMA Twitter the other day. I know you didn't see it because you got me muted. I said, in my opinion, this is the hardest title fight to call in UFC history, starting with the Zuffa era and after. I have to say that, starting with Zuffa era. True or false? And if not, what was a harder title fight to predict going into it?
I mean, off the top of my head, I guess you could make a strong case for this one with all the unknowns. I believe that, public perception is that Andrade is going to win this. No? I mean, I haven't seen a lot of people making a case for Zhang's.
I think it's Zhang. I think it's Zhang. Zhang.
Weili Zhang?
Weili Zhang, I think is how it's pronounced.
Zhang. I haven't seen a lot of people making a case for her, so I don't think it's super hard to predict. With that being said, I believe it's an incredibly close fight, and I think anything could happen. So, I don't know. I'm not quite sure where the answer lies there. What do you think?
Oh, I've seen, I've got to disagree. I've seen a ton of Weili Zhang picks.
Really? I've seen a ton of Jessica Andrade support.
Well, I think what people, I think the thinking with Weili Zhang is, will she be helped by the Chinese audience? Obviously, right? This is in her home country advantage here in a very very dramatic way, right? China doesn't get too many UFC events, so I'm sure the crowd's going to be going insane. Is that going to play a part, especially Fight Geek, if it goes to a decision? What are your thoughts on that?
Are we just jumping right into it, make our predictions and everything, or?
We're not going to, I'm toying with it.
Okay,
here.
well, I don't want to give away too much, but I do think that will play into it. I think a road game in China versus a challenger who's on her home turf is certainly something. I'm not overly concerned about, I don't like to go into it worried about bad judging. Is that something that could happen? Obviously, we've seen that before, but that's not something I like to really spend a lot of time on pre-fight. I hope not. But I do think the energy of being on the road, traveling like that for Andrade, I do think there will be some advantages for Weili Zhang there.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so I won't make you go into that in any more detail, as I don't want to give anything away. So let's go ahead and start off with the Bellator 225 recap. What a card this was. Again, it was 14 fights and 14 finishes. And here's the crazy part, Fight Geek. 7 KOs and 7 subs.
It was a perfect night of MMA violence in action.
Right? Exactly. So let me ask you this. And this is a bit of a weird question. Whose performance were you most impressed with? And I'll make it easier for you, because Lord knows that's not an easy question. On the prelims, because I'm going to go ahead and say something controversial. I thought the prelims were better than the main card, despite the finishes on the main card as well.
I would agree with you there, especially from a entertainment aspect. I thought Kimball getting upset in a back and forth, exciting fight was very entertaining. So you got a lot of different things. I'll go into your question, and I'll say for me the most impressive thing I saw this weekend was Austin Vanderford moving up to 185 pounds and looking very strong, very disciplined, had some great ground and pound, moves to 8-0, stays undefeated, great performance, doctor stoppage, I think after the second round, right?
Yes, it was after the second.
So, but really the most impressive part for me was him fighting up at 185. And him not looking small for the class, he's actually very strong, very muscular. I listened to his interview on the Helwani show, and I was really surprised to hear that he cut from like 205 to 170. He says when he's at 203 pounds, he's around 7% body fat. So, yeah, I was just really impressed with his physicality. I'm really impressed with his ability to implement a game plan, execute it. He obviously has skills, athleticism. He's young, undefeated. So I think Bellator has something in Mr. Van Zandt. So that was my highlight.
Fascinating. I will say this. I'm honestly still trying to make up my mind on who I think was the most impressive from the prelims. I have not decided. But Fight Geek, I will say this. I don't think it was Austin Vanderford. I respectfully...
You don't say.
No, I respectfully disagree with you.
185 pounds, though. Wait,
no, I understand.
Before going in, you've only seen him 170. Your mind would tell you, at least mine did, that he would be undersized for 185, and he really wasn't that undersized, in my opinion.
Oh, he looked a lot smaller than Joseph Creer. You didn't think so? I mean, he was still one, of course, but...
I mean, I guess he did... Yeah, I don't know.
I
was just surprised at how well he fought there.
So this was my takeaway from the fight, and you can tell me if I'm being too harsh on Austin, because I admit I'm jealous of how well he did with his wife. I don't like
jealous of his tattoo choices.
I don't like his neck tattoo with the giant eyeball staring at you. That has got to be weird for Paige during romantic times. I won't get any further into it, but it's got to be a little weird.
You're getting off the rails here.
Okay, to bring it back. When I saw Austin fighting Joseph Creer, I thought Creer was landing a lot of hard shots on the feet, and you know what? Austin felt that. That's exactly why he implemented his, take it to the ground game plan, which went well. I mean, it went as well as it could.
He's a wrestler, and I think if you go back to his Dana White Contender Series fight, he was getting hit up on the feet, adjusted, took the guy down, and won in similar fashion, right?
I believe that's accurate.
He's a guy who knows how to and where to get the fight to be successful, and I think that's a skill.
Okay, let me put it this way. I guess I'm just not convinced, Fight Geek, that 185 is his weight class. Or you are?
Well, I'm not necessarily convinced long-term this will be his weight class, but I think in Bellator he can easily be a top 10 185er with his potential.
Can he fight for the belt? I was just going to say, what's his true ceiling?
He's not going to beat a Gegard Mousasi or someone, or even like a Carvalho is going to be much too tall for him. But I think he could easily contend with guys that, off the top of my head, I don't know the whole top 10 of Bellator's 185-pound division.
But you're just a casual, bro.
I know, I'm so casual. But I do think there's plenty of fights at 185 in Bellator he can win.
Okay, all right. Moving on from Mr. Van Zandt. He got plenty of time. 18-year-old Aviv Ghazali gets the fastest submission in Bellator history in just 11 seconds with a heel hook. What'd you think of that?
This was my runner-up. I was kind of waffling back and forth as my most impressive. I thought this was super cool. He basically came out and went for the submission immediately out of the bell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. Not much action. It's one of those super lightning fast submissions we see every now and again.
Yep.
You learn that kid's name quick, and we'll all be looking to see what's next for him. So.
Yeah. Speaking, that's not a word. Speaking of fast fights, Saba Homasi defeated Micah Simi Terrell via first round knockout, 17 seconds into the first, and then he viciously called out Austin Vanderford. I was impressed with Saba's game plan and strategy and his fighting skills, frankly. What do you think?
His game plan in 17 seconds was what? To land a counterpunch?
That's correct. That was his game plan in this case.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, do you remember Saba Homasi from the UFC? I think he left on 2 knockout losses.
Of course I do. No, I don't.
Well, long story short, he's an exciting slugger-type fighter. You know, he comes in, he was 12-8, making his Bellator debut, I believe. He's kind of a killer-be-killed fighter, so he was exciting. And, you know, when you match him up with guys that he feels comfortable with, he's going to be a guy who can knock some people out. And the call-out I thought was a little weak.
Hold on. Oh my gosh. I'm so annoyed that okay, I feel like a kind of a casual not knowing that he fought it recently. UFC 220. I'm telling Al Hassan.
Well, he got knocked out twice by the same guy, right?
Yeah, he had back-to-back knockouts from Abdul Razak Al Hassan, 218 and 220.
Right. So I mean, he went out, but he's a guy who goes out on his shield. So he's a slugger. He'll be an exciting guy over in Bellator, but again, he's a take one to give one type fighter in my opinion. So what's he, 13-8 now?
It's weird. I remember those fights now. I did not connect those dots, man. Yeah, it's 13-8.
So he's a good pickup for Bellator. He's a great prelim fighter for them. Even bottom of the main card, he's going to bring it. He's an action fighter with a name you somewhat recognize, unless you're dirty casual like you.
Like me. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Fight Geek.
Well, you were so impressed by him and his game plan.
Yeah. I'm not the one who thought DC won the belt for the first time at UFC 220 2 episodes ago. But that's off topic. Okay, all right. Moving on. Fight Geek so mad at me. Fight Geek so mad at me. Okay, all right. Ricky Bandejas, come on, bro. He looked amazing. KO round 1, 1 minute 21 seconds of the first round against Amet Karetli.
Who?
Amet Karetli.
Pick up on the sarcasm. Yeah, Ricky Bandejas looked like Ricky Bandejas there, didn't he? Athletic striker, quick in and out, real quick with his hands. Again, I think he's one of the better guys they have over there, so if you give him, squash matches, I think he's going to squash most guys,
Wait, why are you being sarcastic about Karetli? He's like the Conor McGregor of Bellator.
Oh, exactly.
Or actually, that's actually a little too. Never mind. That's fitting right now. That's not good. Okay.
Now I'm the casual.
Okay. All right. So I love Bandejas guys really fast. I know we're talking way too much about these Bellator prelims. I thought they were great, and I love Ricky Bandejas. I know he's had some setbacks recently, but he's so funny. I remember him. I don't remember who the ref was for the fight, but right after he's going, "That's what I told you, baby." In that accent. That's what I said, baby. That's what I told you, baby. And I love it. It's so funny.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite guys over in Bellator for sure.
Absolutely. And then the last fight, obviously a Gracie one. That's okay. The last fight I wanted to touch on, of course, in the prelims was, Nick Newell defeating Corey Browning via submission 3 minutes and 15 seconds into round number 1, arm triangle choke. What did you think of Nick Newell's performance, and where does he go from here?
I thought Nick looked good. He has 17 fights. The guy was fighting at 7 fights, so I really thought that experience would show through, which I think it did. Nick was in control, it seemed, from the start, very comfortable. Got the fight to where he wanted it on the ground and then finished it the way he's finished the majority of his fights. So I think that was a classic Nick Newell performance, and I definitely expect Bellator to pick him up for a couple fights.
Yeah, now let me ask you this about Nick Newell. What is his ceiling at lightweight in Bellator? I'm so curious to hear your answer.
I'd say probably like somewhere 5 to 10 right now.
Oh, really? I think
maybe 8,
I think further.
9, 10, somewhere in that range in that division.
I think he could in Bellator, remember. We're talking Bellator.
Right.
I think he could.
Give me a marker. Pull up the roster.
Man.
He's not beating Michael Chandler. He's not beating Pitbull.
Well, that's true. He's not beating Michael Chandler, is he?
He's not beating Benson Henderson. He's not beating Roger Huerta.
He could beat Benson Henderson.
You're out of your mind.
You're
out of your mind.
He
cannot beat Benson Henderson. There's no chance. Sorry, no disrespect.
No disrespect to diehard Benson Henderson fans.
Henderson's a former UFC champion who's also a black belt.
If you're raising your hand right now saying, I love watching Benson Henderson fight right now. Thank you guys, you're lying, you're not telling the truth.
I don't love watching him fight, but I would put I put my mortgage on him to beat Nick Newell right now.
Newell fought Gaethje tough.
That was a while ago, and I'm not sure about all that.
Okay, fine. All right, moving on. So, the main card, honestly, guys, I don't have too much to say about it. Tyrell Fortune got a huge win via submission in the second round. You know, that's a big one. Alejandra
to be
Lara.
Expected, I think, there.
Yep. Same with Lara, right? Alejandra Lara.
She was fighting a girl with a losing record on the main card. She was definitely set up to look good, which I think she did for sure.
And then the main event, I forget, was it you that chose Sergey Karatanov to defeat Matt Mitrione? You, right?
Nope.
Oh, no, it was me.
But I'm the one who knows his first name is Sergey.
What did I say?
Sergey?
I'm just, that's the inner pizza fan within me. Just, okay, you know what? Let's stop. Let's
stop. Yeah, exactly. I'll stop you there. I will say this. Mitrione was in full control of that fight in the first round, moving in and out, landing the way he does. I don't understand why he gets so lackadaisical. Maybe it's a cardio thing where he just starts taking heavy shots. It's like a pattern with him. He's real light in the first round on his feet, uses that athleticism that he's so lauded for. But then as soon as he slows down, he just becomes a big punching bag, man. It's hard to watch.
I mean, he couldn't keep the mouthpiece in his mouth.
Well, did you hear the story about that?
He lost his mouthpiece, and then he got a new
blah,
one.
blah, blah. Either way.
Listen.
That's not why he lost the fight. He lost the fight because he slowed all the way down and was standing in front of a heavyweight who has like 40 career fights.
Quick aside on why that mouthpiece story is such BS in Crimea River Mitrione. I belong to a Muay Thai gym, or I did, until 2 weeks ago in Chicago. I got a mouthpiece for hard sparring because they were intense there. You know what? I didn't even have it fitted, Fight Geek. I just put it in, and it worked okay. Yeah, it kind of rattled around a little.
I've had a couple boil them yourself mouthpieces. Snug as they come.
Yeah, so you know what, Mitrione?
I don't think that had anything to do with the loss, honestly. It was just another bizarre thing.
Why couldn't he keep it in his mouth? Like, I don't care if it doesn't fit perfectly. Keep that thing, like, what?
Why aren't you clenching it?
Yeah, like, keep it in your mouth, bro. Like, it's a mouthpiece, dog.
Who knows? Meathead's a hard one to predict, you know? I thought he was really turning a corner, 3 years ago when he signed Bellator? Yeah. He ran off like 3 or 4, looked really good. I was expecting him to kind of reach that potential we thought he had, and now he's lost 2 out of his last 3 or something?
That's
they don't look good when he loses. And even the Fedor fight that he won, Fedor knocked him down. It was almost a double knockout. So, I mean, you could technically say he almost lost that fight too.
Okay, this is out of nowhere. Who's a dumber fighter, Luke Rockhold or Matt Mitrione? Go.
Today, Luke Rockhold.
It's true. They don't come any dumber, do they? They
Luke
just
Rockhold
don't. They just don't.
To put his hands up, and he's been knocked out like 5 times in his career.
And he's so arrogant about it too. Okay, we're getting off topic. All right.
That one's for you, Juice.
Huh?
I said that one's for Juice.
Okay, that's for Juice. All right, are we moving on to UFC Shenzhen?
Oh yes, can't wait.
Okay. I don't appreciate that. This is please show respect to the Ultimate Fighting Championship Company. Guys, do you see the disrespect here? By the way, everyone, honestly, my genuine apologies for mispronouncing any of these names. I'm trying my best, but I may really...
Or all of them?
Yeah, yes, or all of them. I do apologize, guys. I'm trying my best here. But, okay, so, UFC Shenzhen, let's definitely start off with the main event. Jessica Andrade defends her strawweight title for the first time after getting that knockout slam against Rose Namajunas at UFC 237. Fight Geek, break it down. Who you got?
All right. That's a mouthful over there. Yeah, this fight is hard to break down, and I want to say this up front. I actually really like both fighters a lot. Big fan of both of these fighters. But I'm just going to give my prediction first, and then we can talk it out. I'm going to take Weili Zhang by split decision in this fight. I think when I was watching Andrade's last fight against Rose specifically, Rose, in my opinion, was giving her all kinds of problems on the feet. Now, I've heard all the rebuttals about Andrade wears people down and gets into the later rounds, but I believe she won on a Hail Mary of sorts versus Rose. I think Rose was doing pretty much whatever she wanted with her up until that point. Yeah. She was landing at will. I just watched that fight.
All right, keep going. I'll let you talk now.
I was shocked at how much Rose was landing. With that being said, Weili Zhang is a very, very good striker for a fighter in that class. So, and I think she's quite a bit more powerful. Maybe the most powerful girl in that weight class that Andrade will face. Probably the only girl who could come close to matching her strength-wise in that class. So with the striking and her overall strength and physicality, I expect her to win a grinding battle. Very close, like 3 rounds to 2 over Andrade to become the new champion. So that's what I got.
Okay, all right. So here's what I will say. First and foremost, you said that Andrade's win over Rose at UFC 237 was basically a fluke. I've seen a lot of people say that.
It was a fluke.
What did you say? My bad.
Well, she meant the smasher, but what I'm saying is up until that point, in my opinion, watching that fight, Rose was landing everything she wanted on the feet. In the first round, Rose went for 2 submissions, the same way she lost, got dumped.
We heard that part. What did you call it? You called it a fluke or something like that? I
said a Hail Mary of sorts.
Thank you, a Hail Mary of sorts.
Well, a Hail Mary is something you intentionally do, so it's not luck, but it doesn't complete that high of a percentage.
Okay, all right. So here's my take on that, Fight Geek. Title fights are 25 minutes for a reason. They're not 1-round fights. They're not 3-round fights, right?
Correct.
So if Weili Zhang and Jessica Andrade had a 3-round fight in China, I would really, really, really like Weili's chances. I would really be I think I would pick her for sure, actually. But this is a 5-round fight, and Andrade is a non-stop pressure fighter. It's true, she can't really strike to save her life.
This is the first fighter she's going to face in this class that has the physicality to push her back.
What about JJ?
JJ's a thin kickboxer.
JJ's a great counter striker.
Yes, but what I'm saying is Andrade likes to get on top of you and beat you down. I don't think she's going to be able to do that to Weili Zhang.
She will. It's just not going to happen immediately, and it's not going to happen probably in the first at least 2 rounds.
But if it doesn't happen, what is she going to resort to? Because she's not a better striker.
Well, that's for sure. She's definitely not. But I have to take Andrade, and I'm going to take her by TKO stoppage in the 4th. I think her relentless pressure will pay off. Listen, I think that Andrade, I think it's going to be honestly similar to the Rose fight in many ways, in that Andrade is going to be getting pieced up on the feet for most of the fight. She's going to be bloody as hell. She's going to take a lot of damage. And
do you think if she takes the same shots from Weili Zhang, you don't think she's going to get dropped? Weili Zhang is much more powerful than Rose. True or false?
True, but if you actually go to her record, Weili's, it doesn't really paint that picture. There's a ton of submissions and then a ton of decisions. Her last 4 fights are all 2 decisions, 2 submissions. No, there's no.
How many TKOs in her career?
Well, she's got 9 knockouts in her career.
Oh, 9 knockouts for a female 125-pound fighter. Now go find me someone who has more.
Actually, strawweight is 115. You are a huge casual.
Okay,
guys, I'm so sorry. He's such a casual.
Go find one 115-pounder with more than 9 TKOs on their record.
I'm taking Andrade, and there's nothing you can do about it, Fight Geek.
But how many TKOs does Andrade have in her career?
I don't care. I'm not looking it up.
What I'm saying is you just... Okay.
No, what were you going to say? What were you saying?
I was going to say, you're acting like it's impossible for her to TKO someone when she probably has more TKOs than almost anyone in the world at that weight class.
It's not impossible at all. I started off this show saying this is the friggin' hardest title fight to call in UFC history in the Zuffa Era Plus.
True. Keep it moving.
All right, we're going to keep it. Don't tell me what to do. Now I don't want to keep it moving. We're going to keep talking. No, I'm just kidding. We are going to keep it moving. Okay, Zaleski versus Lee. Who you got? And we ain't going to go down this whole card, so don't you worry.
Zaleski, no doubt.
Agreed.
This guy, athletic, a bunch of variety in his striking, relentless. He's kind of a fan favorite, so I'm definitely taking him there.
And I got, oh man, Kai Kara France? Is that how you say it?
That's it, buddy.
I got him over Mark De La Rosa, faux show. What about you?
To me, this is probably one of the closest fights on the card. Great fight, but I'm going to take Kai Kara France as well.
Yep. I've got Evlov defeating Zhenjiang Luv. His last name is LV. That's probably the hardest last name I've ever seen. That's the hardest last name I've ever seen. Wow. Yeah. LV.
LV. All right. Well, I'm going to take Evlov as well.
Okay, I thought you were going to say, I'm taking LV. I was going to be like, all right.
LV, it's not.
Okay, all right. And then, real quick shout out. This is going to be the last thing I'm going to cover unless you want to cover another one. Quick shout out to my boy, Andre Souk. And that's not his full last name. I think it's Andre Sukumtat. Sukumtat. Yeah, so me and him have spoken quite a few times on Twitter. We follow each other. Andre, you're the man, bro. I'm very sorry. I'm sorry I mispronounced your name. I know you listen every week.
All right. Other than that, I'm just going to call out Anthony Hernandez. I saw him on the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series, and then he came back, and I believe he lost to Marcus Perez in a fun fight. I could be wrong there off the top of my head, but he's a guy.
Jamie, look that shit up.
Who?
Jamie. It was a Joe Rogan podcast joke. I said, never mind. Jamie, look that up.
I thought we had a new member.
Sorry. I broke your train of thought. Go ahead.
Yeah, Anthony Hernandez. Excited to see him bounce back. Picking him to win on the card. One to watch for me.
Absolutely agree. Are we ready to move on then?
Yes, please.
All right, guys. We're going to take a very short break, and we're going to be back with more of the Split Decision Podcast. Hey guys, it's Phil the MMA Dude letting you know that this episode of the Split Decision Podcast is brought to you by TotalAggressionClothing.com. Visit www.TotalAggressionClothing.com and use the promo code 46210 to receive a special Split Podcast discount on all Total Aggression hats, shirts, hoodies, and more. Again, that's www.TotalAggressionClothing.com with promo code 46210. Hey guys, it's Phil the MMA Dude here with my brilliant co-host, the Fight Geek, back with the Split Decision Podcast, episode number 36, and it is time for my favorite section, the Listener Questions!
Wow.
Yeah,
that was exhilarating.
I go longer and longer every time. I'm not sure if you've noticed that.
So every time is perfect. I love it.
Oh,
all right,
thank you.
Let's jump into them.
Okay, you got one ready? Mr. Jumper Inner?
No.
Let's jump into him. Oh, you got one, right?
Admiring your introduction to the segment.
Oh, okay, all right. Thank you.
You got one or no?
Yeah, I do. All right, guys, This is from G from State Farm. That's how previously G from State Farm. It's now G from Woe TV. And the Wocast podcast that she co-hosts is actually very good. Shout out to them. And G says, guys, let's say Conor McGregor never fought Floyd Mayweather. How different would his career be right now? Would he be champion? And G, I'm not using your exact words. I hope that's okay. Fight Geek, go ahead.
Great question. I would say no, he would not be champion, but I think he would be more beloved by the hardcores because he would have had to fight out a more natural career, and we would have been able to appreciate him more.
Where would he be right now, though? Like, how do you see it playing out?
I see him, he'd be like 22-5 right now. We'd probably have gotten like 2 or 3 more fights. He probably would have lost to Khabib eventually anyways, in my opinion. I think that was inevitable for him there. We may have seen him drop down and fight Max Holloway again when Max was it after he beat Aldo twice. I think that's what my answer would be. You would have seen Max Holloway versus Conor McGregor had 2 for the featherweight belt had he never fought Floyd Mayweather.
So what is in this alternate reality, Fight Geek, where the Floyd Mayweather fight never happened? What is McGregor's ranking? And which weight class is he fighting, and what's his ranking right now?
Man, you're getting real specific here.
I'm trying to keep you on your toes, bro. Yo, this ain't no joke. This ain't for fun, son.
Let's say, I mean, he's 30 now, so I doubt he'd still be fighting featherweight. So I say he'd be probably in the same exact situation he is now as a top 3 or 4 lightweight.
All right.
We would have seen him fight 2 or 3 more times, and I think with that, people wouldn't have got so disillusioned with like the boxing and blah blah blah, and I think he would be more beloved to the actual hardcore fans.
Yeah, I do tend to agree with you with that. I think that he would have a as weird as it is to say, G, I think that he would be in a similar situation, and certainly in terms of ranking. And as Fight Geek said, not the same in terms of popularity. He's taken a huge hit in popularity that he would not have taken had he stayed in the UFC. I think had he gone down to 45 again to fight Holloway a second time, I am not... Ooh, gosh, now I'm saying it. I'm getting excited and I want to see it. I was just going to say, I don't think McGregor wins it, but I don't know. I mean, now I need to see that fight.
Right, and then if McGregor wouldn't have won it, we probably would have gotten a trilogy between those 3.
Oh,
those
man.
2. Could you imagine Max vs. Conor trilogy for the featherweight title, greatest ever?
That'd be a lot of fun.
That is where Conor's career should have gone without all the madness. So I think we answered that one pretty well.
We did. And there's actually similar questions, so I definitely don't want to touch on that more. Thank you, G. Guys, G's awesome. Follow her if you don't.
Go.
You don't have any... Okay. You're like,
well,
let's jump into it. Let's jump into it. Let's jump in. Oh, I'm not ready. Okay, I got one.
Your friends' questions, man.
I got one. This is from my good bro, at Scotland_MMA. He says... do you guys think Darren Till's real run will begin at middleweight, or do you think his defense is not going to cut it against Kelvin, Costa, and of course the champ? I'd also like to see him against Romero, but long story short, how do you see him doing against Kelvin, and what do you think of the matchup? Fight Geek, go ahead.
Well, I hate the matchup, but I love the fight, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to watch that fight. I'm going to be excited about it. But when it comes to rankings and within the sport, it makes no sense for a guy who just got knocked out twice at 170 to come up and fight a guy who's 1 fight away from the 185 belt. So from a logistics standpoint, I hate the fight. But from an action standpoint, I like it. I think it's very dangerous for Darren Till, who's proven to be a little chinny as of late, to go up and fight someone like Kelvin Gastelum, who hits like a truck and has a chin for days.
Till's a little chinny or a lot of chinny?
Well, after 2 knockouts, I'm not going to say, like, his chin's done, but he's chinny.
Okay.
and he's certainly chinny enough to get clipped by Kelvin Gastelum tight in the pocket and get detached from his senses, which is the way I would see that fight going right now.
Yep. I thought it was particularly funny that Dana White just 2 weeks ago spoke about how Darren Till had probably been rushed too quickly. He was like, yeah, man, in hindsight, probably rushed that kid too fast, And
then they rush him back into 185, the top of the heap. We were talking about Brunson last week. I thought that was a great fight for him, right?
Yeah, and by the way, guys, Till versus Brunson was no give me for Till. It was not.
No. It's a tough fight to prove yourself. You don't go in there with a guy who just put on an legendary performance. Kelvin looked better than he's ever looked in his last fight. And if that Kelvin shows up, he's going to finish Till in 2 rounds.
Oh, or 1.
I think Till will come back a lot more defensive than we've seen him, obviously because of the setback and then the time off.
Okay, so hang on. This is not binding. Obviously, these are not official picks. I want to know who you got in Kelvin versus Till. You got to make the pick right now, guys.
I just said now. Kelvin to stop Till in 2.
Yeah. Darren Till fans, I'm so sorry. Seriously.
I think this is a horrible matchup for him.
I just want to speak quickly to the Till fans. Your boy's about to become Michael Johnson 2.0, and I'm so sorry.
And then what happens is he'll win, and we'll sound like idiots, right?
That's nah. But on
paper, this does not look great.
I can't think of a top 7 fighter besides maybe Yoel that would be a worse matchup.
I mean, Kelvin is short, so Till's going to have reach and size on him. Kelvin's a dog, and he's shown he can get on the inside, and he's tough.
I think reach is a little overrated. I'm sure you can agree with me, Fight Geek. And we're both
how to use your reach.
We're both boxers at heart. You know that reach is overrated.
Well, John Jones has the greatest reach of all time, and he's also the greatest fighter. You think there's any correlation?
Huh.
Yep, let's keep it moving.
All right. Moving on. Do you have a question? Let's jump into it.
I was just hoping you'd spoon feed the whole thread to me and I could just answer them. But
all right, no, I got one. From the legend, Jim Assoon.
What's up, Jim?
At Jim_Assoon. Do you think Paige Van Zandt is finished in the UFC after her next fight? And then he writes in parentheses, Bellator.
I thought Paige Van Zandt has been finished in the UFC, honestly, after that gnarly arm surgery and the fact that now she's married to a fighter and she's starting a second chapter of her life. She's obviously making money on social media. She's still sponsored by Reebok, I believe. So, yeah, I've kind of assumed that she's more or less onto that, second part of her career or already. So, yeah, I wasn't really expecting to see her back, but I'm not sure I'm sold on her to Bellator, though.
Yeah, and let me really quickly do something rare. I'm going to piggyback this question with a question from my man Cyrus King, because he asked something almost identical, so I don't want to answer it twice. He said, question, why would so many people bark at Paige wanting more money? Because they would say, look at her performances. So she lost a lot recently, so she should not get any money. But the flaw with that argument is these same folks would then talk about pay-per-views and followers. Well, Paige Van Zandt has a ton of followers, so why should she not get more money? What do you think?
Exactly. We live in a supply and demand, economy here. So you find what you're worth, and then you demand it. Paige Van Zandt has been built by UFC dollars, and all of that invested in her has thus given her a profile, Dancing with the Stars, her commercials. She's been marketed to us. But with that being said, kind of lost my train of thought there. I just don't necessarily
She's been marketed. Paige Van Zandt's been marketed to us.
Yeah, she's been marketed to the masses. She's obviously got an aesthetic that people like. She's a likable person. So, yes, if she can demand more, why wouldn't you?
Right, exactly. Some people on Twitter were saying, they're brainwashing us, trying to make Paige, a bigger draw than she deserves to be.
And the truth to be told about Paige is win, lose, or draw. She's an action fighter in her weight class. Always brings it, always in fun fights. She has a head kick knockout over Beck Rawlings. She's been in a couple fights that were just all-out wars. She broke her arm and went the distance in another fight. So I think she's earned her money in that cage, to be honest. I don't think her performances have been that disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, look, guys, fair or not, more people tune in when Paige is fighting for whatever reason. It doesn't matter if that's fair or not. It's called capitalism.
Yeah, and there's a segment of the population that follows Paige Van Zandt that doesn't follow UFC, that whenever she's fighting, they come just for that event, and that's where her value is.
Yeah, but I think Pixie said it was from Dancing with the Stars, which is true.
Right. Yeah, so exactly. But, if she's a free agent and Bellator is willing to pay her something, absorbent to come fight, and let's not, safer competition over there, I think the Paige Van Zandt would fare very well if she was able to go over to Bellator. Her sponsorship money would probably be more than her purse money right now in Bellator.
I'm going to say something very controversial. I don't think Paige is very good. I know that's controversial.
I think she's good. I think she's tough too.
She's tough, but she's not good. There's a difference.
I think she's okay.
But but I agree with you that Bellator would drool over getting her. Can you imagine a Mr. and Mrs. Van Zandt card? No?
I don't want to envision it anymore. Let's move on.
Am I wrong, though? Would they not like that?
No, that would be marketing gold for them.
Okay, thank you.
But I don't think the UFC would actually let her out of her contract over some money like that when, like we said, they have helped build her. She's not exactly Sage Northcutt. They have more invested in her.
Is he... Rest in peace. Is he alive? He made it out of that fight.
He had 70 facial fractures, so...
He's okay.
It's going to be at least like a year before we hear about anything from
him. The heart's still ticking, though.
Yeah.
Good. Glad to hear it. Sage is a nice boy. Okay.
Keep him moving.
Okay, you got one or I got one?
Yeah, I got one. MMA by Milliken asks...
What up?
King of Cringe, Henry Cejudo still has 2 belts. Who should be his next 2 opponents?
Before I answer this, and I will... Did you see his new video where he has his 3 belts with diapers on and then has fake poop in one of them, for lack of a better word? Sorry, folks. And says that Baby Dillashaw pooped. And
no, that's not the word he used. What word did he use?
He used the word sharded. He said TJ Dillashaw had sharded into his diaper and then he needed to change.
Was that like a metaphor for the steroids?
I don't know. You just got my phone excited. I don't know. My phone just...
All I know is I hate all of the Triple C era with all of my
come
heart.
on. You know what? That last video was funny, and I admit it.
It's so stupid.
It's a lot better than... jokes aside, I think that what he's doing is so much funnier than Colby. Colby's like really trying to...
you can at least genuinely hate. Like, I'm not even sure what to do with what Henry's doing.
It's funny. I think it's hysterical with the little diapers on the belts. It's ridiculous.
He doesn't even have 3 belts.
I think Demetrius, TJ, Marlon.
No, but for the one he got...
No, but that's how it works. They give
they just put the little bead on his new belt.
That's what they said they would do, and then they realized that was stupid.
So they didn't make any announcement for that, and they're giving people belts again.
I guess he robbed one at gunpoint, because I saw the video. So
I don't know either. Let's go. Maybe Molly, his manager?
Yes.
Maybe he was borrowing one of the other.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, wait. I have to answer who is next 2 opponents. Okay.
That's so easy. Joseph Benavidez and Aljamain Sterling.
Wow, that is such like I'm a diehard and I believe in the right thing. That is such a diehard answer.
Who's gonna say it? Who are you gonna say? Frankie Edgar?
Okay, first of all, you think his next fight is gonna be Joey B?
Yes.
I don't think he's excited about going back to 125 at all.
I think Dana wants that fight to happen, and I think he said as much a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, Henry would be very foolish to drop the flyweight belt money-wise. I mean, you don't want to do that, you know?
Well, that's the less volatile division. I mean, holding on to 135 is no guarantee for him.
I feel like he's more confident at bantamweight. Honest, I believe that 100%.
But bantamweight is a murderer's row of contenders right now, where
that's what we said about Marlon, and then he pieced him up.
He had to have a legendary performance to win that fight. It wasn't like he smoked him.
He stopped him in the third. He beat him up.
Yeah, he did, no doubt. But you think he's going to do that through that division, left and right? No, you don't get to do that 6-7 times.
I do think he's very mentally tough. I do.
Oh, of course. I think he's elite. I just do not like his shtick at all.
Well, yeah, I know. Those are two different things. No, agreed. I think that. So you do think that he's not going to drop flyweight? Because I was concerned he would drop the flyweight.
I don't think. Like you said, I think that'd be a horrible business move.
Yeah,
because I think that's the one he can defend for a very long time, and then there's always that if DJ ever comes back, trilogy fight in that division.
Yeah. No.
I don't see anyone beating him at that division, honestly.
I don't see anyone beating him soon at bantamweight, dude.
I could see him losing fights.
Who's going to beat him at bantamweight soon?
Well, we have no idea what Frankie Edgar will look like at 135. It will be the first time in Frankie Edgar's career where he doesn't have to be the crafty fighter. He can actually impose some of his will. Not saying he will be great at that weight, but there's a big unknown with him. He's still technically elite. He was just physically falling behind the curve.
Okay, all right. So to answer the final question, my final answer is Joey B. And then I do believe they're going to make an interim belt between Aljo and Peter Yan. And I think somehow Peter Yan's going to win it. And so I think it's Peter Yan and Joey B.
Okay, I could see that. I could definitely see that. That's a good selection. All right. Let's keep it moving to, who do I got here? Jacob Powers.
Jacob.
He says earlier this week or last week, Phil said Dustin Poirier isn't heavy-handed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not agreeing or disagreeing, but of his last 5 wins, 3 are by KO, TKO, so why don't you consider that heavy-handed? And the floor is yours, buddy.
Yeah, honestly, thank you very much for that question, man. I appreciate it because I think this is one of those things that maybe I didn't describe as well as I could have, and that's on me, and I appreciate getting the opportunity.
So let me interrupt.
Do
you believe Dustin Poirier is heavy-handed or not?
Oh yeah, absolutely not. So absolutely not. He is a volume striker. Now listen, everyone. Before he's a volume striker. Phil said he's a volume striker. Listen, I never said being a volume striker doesn't work, and I never said it was better than being a knockout artist with one punch. But
right.
Dustin Poirier is not a one-punch knockout fighter, and if you say that, then you're lying to yourself, Fight Geek. You are. I'm not
saying. I 100% agree with you. He's not a one-shot knockout.
No, he's like a large Max Holloway.
But he is heavy-handed for that division. When you go across the board over time, even in the 3rd round or the 4th round of the Gaethje fight, I believe, he's a great boxer. He lands thudding, heavy body shots. He lands thudding shots on your arms and on your defense. He is heavy-handed in the sense that he wears you down with his power and pace and accumulation. No, he's not a big one-shot Anthony Rumble, knock you unconscious, dead one-shot guy, but he certainly is heavy-handed for his weight class when you consider his technique and accumulation of strikes. It's not like Max Holloway even... I like the comparison with Max, but Max truly is not heavy-handed. Max is a true accumulation striker, where I think Dustin Poirier's striking is almost like a Michael Bisping striking, where it can knock you out and hurt you, but it's more a long play of thudding shots and heavy shots. I'm talking about more of a younger Michael Bisping, not an older Michael Bisping. But I do think he's heavy-handed for the weight class, but no, he's not. Who in the lightweight division is a one-shot knockout artist? Give me 3 names.
McGregor before 229.
Okay.
Actually, okay, believe it or not, I'll tell you, I'll give you another one. Justin Gaethje.
That's one of the other ones. There's only like 4 of them, honestly.
And then
Donald Cerrone with his head kicks, and then
I mean Ferguson Ferguson gets the finish.
No, Ferguson is accumulation striker. Gets most of his stuff when you're tired in a darce or in scrambles. He does not one shot knock you out. I mean, he's knock guys down, but he's not going to knock you dead. I think Barbosa, Cerrone, Gaethje, Conor, those are your real knockout strikers in that division.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I was just trying to say that I do believe Dustin overall is more of a volume striker. He gets his stops later in fights.
Sure.
Barring that Eddie Alvarez, granted, his best performance of all time was UFC on Fox, Alvarez versus Poirier 2, okay? He got it at 4 minutes and 5 seconds in the second round.
You don't think the Gaethje win is better?
Well, it was 4 rounds in. It was later. He was extremely tired, and the way he got that finish, Fight Geek, was with his heart, which is not to be discounted, but that was heart.
I was there. He won that with his heart, but his boxing also.
Okay, I mean, I went into the 4th. If he lets it go into the 4th with Khabib, he may be tired.
Oh, no doubt about that.
So
I'm not saying I'm picking him to win Khabib. I'm just saying he's a heavy-handed lightweight.
Yeah. No, okay. We do disagree. I'm telling you, he's a volume striker.
Right. He is a volume striker. That doesn't mean he cannot be heavy-handed.
Okay, well, then we're just agreeing/disagreeing forever then.
Right. Yeah. All right, so, hopefully we answered that one adequately.
Okay. Want me to go?
I got one right here by Strike.mx, and I really like this one.
That's the one I was going to read, so go ahead.
I'll get you to it. If Aldo can make the cut to 135 and not be depleted, how do you like his chances? Would his striking and takedown defense make easy work of Cejudo? And let me take this one off the jump. Jose Aldo is never making 135. That guy struggles to make 145. Nope. He would literally die trying to make that cut. So that fight will never happen. And if he did somehow make it, I believe he'd probably get knocked out because of how depleted he would have to be. Most guys are better at cutting weight when they're young. I would say probably 100% of guys are better at cutting weight when they're young. Jose Aldo's in an advanced stage in his career. It would be, I know he's mentioned that, but I think that's just like all kind of just PR, Twitter banter. I don't think there's any way he could or would go to 135. But I was wrong about the Till Gastelum fight last week, so what do I know?
No, I completely agree here. I think Aldo cannot make 135 safely, for sure. I mean, I've seen him cutting hard to 45.
Right, like he struggles to 145. That's why the whole thing has been as he aged, he would go to 155 eventually, which he never did. So 135 seems absurd.
Right, and did you hear Dana on it? He was like, no way. He shut it down completely.
Well, it doesn't even make sense.
Right. But, Strike.mx...
I think that was a Craven Moorhead headline.
Okay, Strike.mx said, continued on, would his striking and takedown defense make easy work of Cejudo? Not at all. Not
today.
No.
Prime Aldo's skills would destroy him.
Whoa. Yeah, but now we're getting into science fiction.
Right, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Let's not get into science fiction here. Cejudo would whoop Aldo's ass if Aldo made it alive.
135 today. Let's preface it.
Yes, of course.
But I think if he went to 145, Aldo would beat Cejudo.
We're talking about science fiction again.
No, I'm talking about 145. Cejudo could make 145.
I know, but he's not going to do that to fight Aldo.
No, but would he lose?
Yeah, probably.
All right.
Okay, all right. That give you a lot of satisfaction, make me say that? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, moving on. This is from Grasp Gains. Love Grasp Gains. Side note on Graf Gaines, we were enemies, and then Graf Gaines made fun of me and said that I looked a lot like the Schmo, and I thought it was like funny but offensive, and then we became friends. What's up, Graf Gaines? So he says, who is a fighter or two that hasn't been in the UFC very long, is unranked, that you guys really have your eye on to be a star in the Ultimate Fighting Championship down the road? And he used, I should point out, Graf Gaines, you get extra credit because you used the hashtag AskSplitPod. Guys, you don't do that enough, and he did.
All right, very good. Well, I mean, we could go on forever here. I like a lot of guys, but I mean, I mentioned this Macy Barber every other episode, so she's only been here about 3 fights. I think she's unranked still, right? She may have just eked in.
I think she's unranked. I can check.
She's fighting Jillian Robertson next, so I think she may have just got into the top 20 or top 15. But I'm super high on her, excited to watch her. I compared her to like a young female Rory McDonald before. I kind of like her as that kind of prospect.
Yeah.
And then a guy we just saw, Hakeem Dawodu, I think has a lot of potential, as does obviously Youssef.
No, you stole mine. I was going to say
Youssef.
Sadiq Youssef. No, dude. You can't name 3, bro.
Okay, I take it back.
Sadiq. That was mine. I can't believe you named 3. Guys, he named 3. That was a douchey move. Okay, all right, moving on. Sadiq. Okay.
You got other ones, too. I know you do. They're in there. Come on.
Stop, dude. You stole. Dude, that's messed up, bro. All right, Darren Till at middleweight.
Darren Till at middleweights? Your pick?
Dude, stop, bro. Like, yo, you're putting me on the spot. I had Sadiq, dog. Alexander Rakic, who's ranked 10 at light heavyweight, but that's basically unranked at light heavyweight, let's be honest. So, him. Okay. All right, moving on. This is from Mr. B, 1986. Mr. B, I love you, bro. Long-time listener of the show. Love this guy. News was out that Thomas Almeida, the forgotten bantamweight, I love that, is planning his return by the end of the year. Who would you guys have him face in his return fight? Ooh.
You pulling up the division right now?
Nah, dude. That's like what casuals do. Yeah, I am.
Well, I think we've talked about Almeida a couple times on here.
He's ranked 15, FYI, Faber 14.
And who's 13?
Song Yadong, 12, John Dodson, 11, Rob Font, 10, Cody Steen.
I like that Song Yadong versus Almeida fight. That'd be a nice striking matchup. Yadong just had that big counter knockout a couple weeks ago, right? He's from Team Alpha Male.
Yes.
I think that would be a nice fight right there, actually.
Yeah.
I think you should take it slow with Almeida, considering he took a long break, took a couple knockout losses. He has like 24 career fights by the time he was 25, so I think it was time for him to slow down for a little bit. So I don't think they rush him back in.
What about, this could be a weird one, what about Thomas Almeida versus Cody Garbrandt, number 8?
Well, we've already seen that. Cody knocked out Garbrandt. Or Cody knocked out Almeida.
Rematch, baby. Rematch.
Well, if you're Almeida and you just are on a bad streak and you left, why would you want to come back against one of the guys who knocked you out? I think
it'd be a huge win if he gets it.
Fresh matchup for him.
Okay.
Right. Fresh start.
Okay. All right. You got a question?
I will in just a second.
Okay, all right. I'm moving on. Fighting with Myself podcast, aka Juice. What up, Juice? Guys, check out the Fighting with Myself podcast. It's very good. I don't like promoting other amateur podcasts, but the G from State Farm one, the Wocast podcast, and then Fighting with Myself.
So you don't like doing it, but you do it. You just did it 3 times.
Well, those are 2 good ones. The other ones, if I'm being totally honest, are not good. So those are the only 2, and except
you're
obviously
incriminating yourself. Let's go.
All right. Obviously, ours is the best. Okay, I'm done. Wow, I'm like Luke Thomas, unlikable tonight. Moving on. Okay. Fighting with Myself said, "What's your favorite vacation spot?" Go ahead, Justin. Fight Geek.
Oh, thanks. Edit that out.
Oh, relax.
Bahamas.
Okay.
Yeah, Bahamas. I like the Bahamas. I've been there, and I liked it.
I guess that's a good reason. I've been there, and I liked it.
So
spoken like a true genius.
You acting like that's not a nice place to visit?
No, it's a very nice place, but your explanation sounded really dumb. All right, moving on. I'm going to choose by far the nicest place I've ever been by far. This is going to make me sound more fancy than I am, but it was really nice. Santorini, Greece, and then the Greek islands in general are beautiful.
They are beautiful. I thought you were going to say San Diego at first, though.
Yeah. San Diego, California. Listen to the new Cardi B album on the way there. It got me in a good mood. Okay.
Whoa.
I don't know why I had a New York accent. I don't know why.
Let's keep it moving, Phil.
Let's keep it moving. You got one?
Sure. Jay Brookley at Cradle in Flames
Love
asks,
him. What up, dog?
I kind of asked this on my profile, but all the same, as much as I hate bringing up Conor, what would you like to see for Conor's future? Retirement, title contention, fun money fights, bar fights, bare knuckle fights, pro wrestling, Jello wrestling, or Marmot wrestling?
Yeah, I love.
Go ahead. What would you like to see from Conor?
Yeah, I love this question. This is why I find it so interesting. I think that Conor has somehow worked himself into this corner where he has to kind of continue his mixed martial arts career to save face. And that wasn't something that he would have had to have done, several years ago. He could have definitely fought the Mayweather fight and kind of rode off into the sunset, just made the whiskey. But, then he's getting accused of sexual assault. Then he's in a pub and he's cold clocking an old elderly man who doesn't see it coming. And now I think that he kind of has no choice but to perform well in the octagon, which is a really hard task, and I have no idea how he's going to do it, and that's why I'm smiling nervously, because I think this is going to be a giant dumpster fire.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see what you're saying. He has painted himself into a hole, and all of the fights that he has out there for him, I mean, at this point, they don't all look super promising, and he has such a brand to upkeep that he doesn't want to take super risky fights, in my opinion. So that leaves him limited if he does want to continue that career. So, I mean, I'd love nothing more than to see him compete. I think there's a lot of strange push for the Diaz trilogy all of a sudden. I see from all different factions, even though I would really like to see Masvidal Diaz.
I was going to say, no one wants the Diaz trilogy. Everyone wants Diaz Masvidal.
Well, I mean, ESPN's asking about it.
No, I want Diaz Masvidal.
Yeah, everyone wants Diaz Masvidal.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, for Conor, we would all like to see him come back and fight anyone. Like, again, they're all great matchups to watch. I'll watch him fight Gaethje, Cowboy, Tony. I mean, I would have watched him fight Ally Quinta. I'll watch him. I'll basically want to see him fight anyone other than Khabib at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's I think he's painted himself into a corner. I think he's got to go back to MMA. I think it's a very tough situation because, his best matchup, bar none, is if Dustin somehow beats Khabib, and then they do Poirier-McGregor too. That's definitely
And then what if you were to lose at Poirier, though?
He easily could. See, that's
obviously.
The thing.
So, anyways, that'll be a conversation for another day.
But really quickly, Fight Geek, last thing I'll say on it, that's the Poirier fight I mentioned is because that's his best chance. If he fights...
Yeah, that's his golden ticket.
Yeah, and he could still lose it, as you said. If he fights Tony Ferguson, Tony's going to eat his soul, Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat style. Your soul is mine. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I don't think he wants that fight for a chance for a number one contender match.
Right, exactly. All right, are we ready?
Yeah, I got one from Eduardo at Landa Crew. He asked, how many belt changes do you think we'll have by the end of the year? Go ahead.
Yeah, that is so tough because we don't know exactly how many title fights are happening. I'm going to guess that there's going to be 4. I mean, we kind of know of 3, right? I mean, 245, there's going to be JDR versus Nunez 2, Holloway versus Volkanovski, 244, Usman Covington, and then I think they're going to make Jones versus Jan Blachowicz to headline 244, but that is by no means
including this weekend as well.
Right. Oh, thank you. Good catch.
So I would say 2.
You think that
2 belts will change hands over the next
You think what Weili Zhang is going to...
I'm not going to pick the actual people to lose.
Oh, don't be come on.
Statistically, I think 2 of them will change hands.
Hashtag BS. Hashtag wimpy.
Hashtag scientific.
Okay, wow. You're going to go that route. Okay, 2. Okay, I'm going to go... Let me just think. I'm going to go 0. I'm going to go 0.
Wow, you're a bundle of fun over there. 0.
Why?
Challengers.
Why is that boring? See, why is that boring, dude?
Holloway's going to quo, man.
Holloway defends. Nunez defends against, the Netherlands police officer woman. Then after that, Jones is going to beat Blachowicz if that happens. That's a joke. And then
imagine, I just got to say, how hilarious would it be if Blachowicz is the one to take down Jones after all this time? Just imagine a world where that happens.
I would throw a festival.
It would be interesting to say the least. All right, I'm moving on. Okay, Bookie Cousins MMA asks, what happens first? Stipe DC3, Jones DC3, or Jones versus Stipe? You want me to go?
Yeah, you go first.
Stipe versus DC3 will happen next, in my opinion.
Wait, why can I not find... Oh, I found the question. That's why I was delaying. Okay, what happens first? Stipe.
You gotta see. You can't just hear it.
I don't listen to what you say, brah. You know that. Guys, Jones ain't taking no risky fights. I love how people don't get this. I'm not even hating on John. He ain't taking a fight he's gonna lose or with any chance of losing. John is not a risk-taking man.
What is your answer?
My answer is definitely Stipe DC3. Because Jones DC3 ain't happening, and Lord knows Jones versus Stipe ain't happening.
Okay, moving on. The Deadbeat MMA podcast asks, outside of the big ones, UFC, Bellator, Ryzen, 1, PFL, which promotions do you think are the most important and meaningful to follow?
Besides the big 4?
Yeah, besides those 3. Or the big 4, yeah, I have one specifically, and it's LFA.
Yeah,
I think LFA has a great track record of producing UFC level talent. So I would say LFA as far as like a feeder league.
Well, okay, so he's saying UFC, Bellator, PFL, and 1. Are those the 4 he named?
Yes.
Okay, so...
And Ryzen.
Oh, he did name Ryzen? I was just about to...
Yeah, so UFC, Bellator, Ryzen, 1, and PFL. Which, outside of that, I think LFA is a
LFA... No, but there's one you're definitely forgetting, and it's a big one. And that's called Cage Warriors.
That's true.
So those 2. I think we can agree that LFA and Cage Warriors are the 2.
For sure.
And guys, I would just say, just skip PFL and don't worry about it. That's my... Fight Geek disagrees.
Okay, Shed Sport Podcast asks, who do you have winning at UFC 242 main event, Poirier versus Khabib? We'll break this down more as it comes up, but obviously I'm leaning towards Khabib now. You?
I am leaning towards Khabib. Khabib, where you at? Khabib.
Do you think that was on purpose, or do you think it was just kind of happened in the moment?
I think that Poirier would... Okay, I'm not going to diss him that bad. It was an accident.
Okay,
let's definitely leave it at that.
All right, got one right here by Leon, Roundhouse Podcast MMA. What do you think about the upcoming Damian Maia versus Ben Askren contest? Should be a grappling masterclass, in my opinion.
Huh? What? Wait, what?
You weren't snoring loud enough. Sorry.
Wait. Oh, wait. Sorry. No. I wasn't asleep. What was that? Wait, what was the question? Askren Maia? I don't care. It's boring.
I have a better question. Is it the two least talented strikers in UFC history?
Oh, that's mean. That's a mean thing to ask.
Well, I as soon as I said that, CM Punk versus Mike Jackson came into my head.
Yeah. So no. But
no, it's not.
Askren Maya, boy, how the mighty have fallen, Ben. You're fighting Damian Maya, brah?
That's it. That seems like a lot of stalling in that fight on the ground.
Yo, that fight, I
can't say I'm overly excited about it, but I certainly will be watching for the technique battle. But it's not going to be one I'm going to invite all my friends to watch.
I can already see all those MMA Twitter hipsters being like, I love a good, ground chess match. It's like, shut up. Just shut up, guys. The fight sucks.
Unless you've had 8 beers and you're like waiting for action. But
and you're on shrooms.
It should be a legendary grappling match within the UFC. So, yeah, it is what it is. It better not be a main or a co-main. It needs to be like the 3rd or 4th card.
Oh, no, I think it's done as the main for UFC Singapore, dude.
Well, that would suffice for UFC Singapore, in my opinion.
Ouch. Wow. Throwing shade at Singaporeans.
Like
Yo, Singapore, I love you. I don't feel that way.
Oh, my God. What I'm saying is that's the perfect headliner at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Why you got to throw shade at Singapore, brah?
Keep it moving.
All right. Okay. Why do you think, this is from Jokers LL. Why do you think so many fighters still to this day refuse to sell their fights? Who is telling these people that their skills are enough to make people tune in? Do you think coaches or gyms should give advice to fighters on how to market themselves? Jokers, the answer is no. They've got to figure that out for themselves, and the reason
I just think it depends on what kind of a person you are. If you're an introverted person your whole life, just because you turn into a fighter doesn't mean all of a sudden you're going to come out and be quick-witted and good with your tongue,
Well, you should learn. I mean, if you're being financially savvy, you should force yourself to learn.
Well, you should be a professional, but I don't think you have to be a fast talker.
Yeah, I mean, every little bit matters, though. Like, I understand what Jokers LL is saying for sure.
Well, it does matter, but you have to invest in your character. For instance, you can go find a bunch of Colby Covington interviews from 5 years ago where he sounds like a choir boy.
Right.
So his character is not genuine whatsoever. But someone like Robbie Lawler, who's kind of soft-spoken and been quiet his whole career, can more or less sell his fights based on, the violence he brings to the octagon, because we understand that he's being his true self. I think many soft-spoken fighters have sold themselves. Fedor is soft-spoken. He sold himself. I think, Randy Couture is a soft-spoken guy who was a fan favorite. There's all kinds of soft-spoken guys.
Yeah. The Korean Zombie isn't exactly known for his trash talk, unless it comes to Brian Ortega ducking Mexico City, but it's another story.
That's a nice call-out. So, I don't know. I think that you just got to be true to yourself. Be creative with who you are. Find a character that works within the parameters of who you are. And then just roll with it. I think we've seen a couple times, for instance, Triple C. That doesn't seem like, if you go back and listen to Henry Cejudo and who he is, where he came from, the Olympic story, Triple C is like out of left field. It's not who he was for the whole first part of his career. That's kind of why I don't like it. It's just a shtick. There's no substance to it.
I mean, Colby turned into a shtick out of nowhere.
Well, who respects Colby's shtick?
I know, but Henry's isn't quite as bad because it's not so hateful.
Well, I get the content's not quite as bad, but the delivery is equally as horrendous, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, reading a bedtime story to 3 belts with poopy diapers, you know what? I can appreciate that.
The guy's got a lot of free time.
And you know what? A lot of creativity, unless someone else is. Actually, he's probably not thinking of that. Let's be honest.
Well, it's not that creative. I guess that's where I'm coming from.
Putting poopy diapers on the belts?
Is that creative?
I don't know. I wouldn't have thought of it. It's pretty weird.
I think a 3-year-old would do that when they play house. I don't know how creative
Yeah, that's
it is.
true.
So
that's true.
Anyways.
Okay, wait. Real quick. Paul McNuggets O'Kelly, this is at Sparks F1. Unusual question, gents. I may be heading over to the USA next March. So my question is this. What's your favorite food to eat that would define you as an American? Go.
Bacon cheeseburger and fries.
Ooh. You know what? I can't.
With cheddar cheese.
Oh, instead of American. Good call.
Sharp cheddar bacon.
Yeah, you know what? I cannot disagree with that for half a second. That is the truth. Yep.
Well, thank you. I do know my food.
Bacon cheeseburger, Paul. Get that bacon cheeseburger.
With cheddar, Tillamook preferably.
With cheddar, not American cheese. But don't tell them that. Or I mean do, but you know what I mean.
American cheddar.
Yeah.
All right. Does that do it for this episode?
I think that may do it. Fikey, take us away, baby.
All right, guys. As usual, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, Stitcher, and more. I'm at the Fight Geek MMA. He's at Phil the MMA Dude. We're at Split_podcast. It's 4 words. The Split Decision Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you next week. Peace.
Peace.